Laura is one, and Frank is the other. Both are people struggling with big problems. Laura's job is weighing on her more and more. She believes that finding another is the only life-giving option she has, but her efforts have accomplished nothing so far. As for Frank, he has been in constant pain for years, having hurt his back on the job. Now he feels that he's at the end of his rope. His life seems so burdensome. What does the story of blind Bartimaeus have to tell us when, like Laura and Frank, we feel our troubles have become more than we can bear? The message of the miracle that Jesus works for the blind man is that faith in Jesus unfailingly triumphs. Bartimaeus has such faith, as we hear when he says to Jesus, or as we hear when Jesus says to him, "Your faith has saved you," after which the man regains his sight. Because Jesus' miracles always point to something much deeper, what we learn here is that the spiritual sight Bartimaeus clearly demonstrates is the divine gift that leads to true life. He has faith, and it is this that we should ask God to grant us, far more than anything of this world. Mark's gospel is offering us a very pointed comparison. It's between a physically blind man with keen spiritual vision versus Jesus' disciples, men whose physical eyes work fine, but who are spiritually groping in the dark. The passages leading up to today's make this clear. They show us Peter attempting to talk Jesus out of embracing the cross. The disciples' inadequate faith, rendering them powerless to heal a possessed boy. Their failure to understand Jesus' teaching about his impending death and resurrection, and their preoccupation with their own status, even as Jesus tells them for the third time about his approaching passion in Jerusalem. My friends, like the disciples, you and I and every other person are blind to one extent or another. Spiritually speaking, we all have vision trouble. We all need to grow in faith. For this reason, we hear such words as these found in John's Gospel. "Do not let your hearts be troubled. Have faith in God and faith in me." No matter what problems our lives bring us, these problems are not too much for God. This is what faith in Jesus promises us. Will Laura find that job she longs for? Will Frank find freedom from his pain? Perhaps they will. But even if they don't, or let's say they do, but then an even greater problem develops, it is their faith that will heal them. Our faith is what preserves us in the face of the greatest obstacles imaginable. Isn't that the message of Jesus' suffering and death? He placed all his faith in his Father's love, and God raised him from the dead. That is what we are celebrating here at this Mass, and in 15 minutes or so, as we share in Eucharist. It is this divine love that we will consume. And so, my friends, more than health, more than a successful career, Lord knows more than a red or blue wave on election day. Pray for faith in Jesus. That, and that alone, saves.